Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Show Me Firearms. I've got one pretty interesting gun to show you guys in today's video. Let's go check it out. Introducing the M4 12 gauge semi-automatic shotgun by Panzer. That's right, this is not a Benelli M4. This is a Panzer Arms M4 shotgun, but it is an exact clone of the Benelli M4, the revered and venerable Benelli M4 12 gauge shotgun. So the story behind the Panzer Arms M4 and the reason why they were able to make an exact clone of Benelli's M4 is that Benelli's patent actually ran out on their M4, meaning that companies like Panzer were able to come along and clone it. Exactly clone it. Like, there's many Benelli parts that are interchangeable on this gun. That's pretty cool. Now the thing of the Panzer Arms M4 is that it is way cheaper than a Benelli M4. This gun ran me $400 on sale. I'm not sure exactly what a Benelli M4 would run you, but I do know it is in the vicinity of $2 grand, give or take. So yeah, this gun is way more accessible to a lot more people because of its low price point. Now, obviously, Panzer cut some corners or did something to get the price way down. What exactly they did to get their price point down, I'm not entirely sure. It could be the quality of the parts. It could be the standards to which those parts have been made. I'm not exactly sure. And I've heard conflicting things about these guns. Some people say they run pretty good. Other people say they're terrible and they jam all the time. So what's the real story? I'm not exactly sure, but we're going to answer that question here in just a moment when we shoot this thing for the very first time. Will the Panzer Arms M4 run reliably, or will it be a complete and total failure? Alright, so we're loaded up with 5 rounds of double-aught buckshot in our Panzer Arms M4. Will it run reliably? Let's find out. Okay, all 5 rounds cycled just fine. Our bolt locked back to the rear on the last round. Okay, alright, let's load it up again and see if it'll keep on running the way it should. Okay, 5 more rounds of double-aught buckshot. I'm just gonna dump this as fast as I can. Okay, so far guys, it's running really good. Cycled 10 rounds in total so far. Our bolt locked back to the rear after both of our mag dumps. So far, the Panzer Arms M4 is doing a pretty good job. Let's get out some fun targets and keep on shooting this thing. And yeah, we'll see exactly how good this little shotgun is. How about some 2 liters? I think we'll hit those 2 liters with some double-aught buckshot. Nice, nice. Shooting 2 liters never gets old. Up next, we've got 3 bottles of nasty, sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. I mean, seriously, who puts this stuff on your barbecue? So the sauce is the boss, huh? Well, today, the M4 is the boss. I've done the world service. I've ridded it. 3 more bottles of nasty, sweet Baby Ray's. Yeah. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Just had to get that out of my system. Let's shoot some pumpkins now. What do you say? They don't make them like they used to. Okay, loaded up with 6 2 3/4 inch slugs. Let's take out those pumpkins on the left with these slugs. back to buckshot. Time to abuse my poor little steel target down there with 6 2 3/4 inch slugs. Alright, one more mag dump, then we'll wrap up today's video with my final thoughts on the Panzer Arms Benelli M4 clone. Nice. Nice. Alright guys, final thoughts on the Panzer Arms Benelli M4 clone. Guys, so far I am a fan. I don't know exactly how much ammo I've run through for today's video, but it's been a lot, and I've not had one single malfunction thus far. So, that doesn't mean that it will continue to run this well all the time. Like a month from now, it could start acting up and do some weird stuff. But for today's video, it ran really, really well. All signs point in the right direction thus far. So far, I'm definitely a fan of the Panzer Arms Benelli M4 clone. Now, like I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of parts out there made by Benelli that are interchangeable with the Panzer right here. So are there any Benelli parts that you guys want to see me try on the Panzer M4? I'll try it first, so that way if you guys want to get a Panzer M4, we'll put some Benelli parts on it, you'll know if it works or not. So let me be the guinea pig. As of right now, assuming this gun continues to run good, and I feel like putting some money into it, I will probably get a different stock. I want to get an adjustable stock for it. Probably get a red dot at some point. And then there's also a mag tube extension out there that would give me 7 rounds in the tube instead of just 5. So those are some things I'm thinking about at the moment. Again, assuming this gun continues to run good over the long run, and I think it's worth it to put money into it. So that's going to do it for today's video. I appreciate you guys being here. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And guys, we are getting very, very close to our goal of 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2022. It's the end of October when I'm filming this. I think we're at like 930, something like that. It's only about 70 to go. So if you guys are watching and you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, join the Show Me Firearms family, and join in on all the fun. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. And until then, show me them firearms. Hey guys, welcome back to Show Me Firearms. In today's video, we've got the Benelli M4 clone back out on the channel. This is, of course, the Panzer Arms M4. And those of you who have been watching the channel for a while will remember that I picked up this gun last October. And in the video I did right after I picked up this gun, I was totally blown away by how well it performed. And it was just a ton of fun. And in that video, I ran just double-up buckshot and slugs through this gun. And since then, I've gotten a lot of comments from you guys wanting to know, will the Panzer Arms M4 run birdshot? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the Benelli M4, the legit Benelli M4, will run birdshot with no problem. Can the Panzer Arms M4 do the same? That's exactly what we're going to put to the test in today's video. I've got 6 rounds, number 8 birdshot, and I feel like number 8 birdshot is a good load to test out, because number 8 birdshot is a very light load. So if the Benelli M4 clone here can cycle number 8 birdshot, there's no reason why it shouldn't be able to cycle heavier loads of birdshot. So we're loaded up, 5 plus 1 in the chamber. Will the Benelli M4 clone cycle this birdshot? There's only one way to know. All right, here we go. Okay, good deal. So that was our first round there. Our spent casing ejected just fine. And it looks like we've got another round in the chamber. Awesome. Awesome, guys. Look at that. We cycled all of those rounds birdshot. our bolt locked back to the rear after the last round. The gun cycled Birdshot flawlessly. That's awesome because, I mean, for this gun to be able to cycle just about any shotgun load you can get your hands on at just a fraction of the cost of an actual Benelli M4, that's pretty darn cool. But let's make sure that this was not a fluke. Let's get 6 more rounds of Birdshot and see if it'll cycle those as well. We're back with 5 plus 1 in the chamber. I'm just gonna dump these as quickly as I can and see if this thing can cycle Birdshot very, very quickly. Heck yeah, buddy. Check it out, guys. Cycled just fine. Bolt locking back to the rear once again. That is absolutely awesome because I was a little unsure if we were actually going to be able to cycle Birdshot through this thing. Now, I had been hearing through various places on the internet that in order to get the Panzer Arms M4 to cycle Birdshot, you first have to run at least a couple hundred rounds of heavier loads like slugs or buckshot through it first to get those springs all nice and loosened up. Then after those springs are loosened up, it can cycle Birdshot no problem. And that seems to be the case so far because since this past October, I've run at least a couple hundred rounds of buckshot through this gun. Have not been keeping a specific count, but obviously it's been enough to get those springs nice and loosened up because as you guys saw, we're cycling number 8 Birdshot just fine out of the Panzer Arms Benelli M4 clone. Guys, this gun is just too much fun, especially considering the price point that it comes in at. I mean, like, when I picked this gun up, it's 400 bucks. I mean, like, compared to the actual Benelli M4, that is just so affordable and so much more accessible for a lot more people. And I'm even more impressed by this gun now that we've shown that it is capable of running light birdshot like number 8 Birdshot. That's pretty darn incredible in my opinion, to be able to run just about any kind of shotgun load you want out of a cheap Benelli M4 clone. That's pretty darn cool. Now let's suppose for just a moment that the Panzer Arms M4 did not run the Birdshot. Let's say it just jammed every single time and it was just a complete failure. Would that change my opinion of this gun in any way, shape, or form? Not really, to be honest, because the application for a shotgun like this is, you know, military, police, home defense, self-defense, that sort of thing. This is not a bird hunting gun, guys, okay? It's got the short 18.5-inch barrel. It is just not a gun intended to go bird hunting, where you're gonna need to run birdshot or what have you. This is a defense, home defense shotgun. And in those applications, you're going to be running buckshot or something like that. Probably not going to be running birdshot in a home invasion. Maybe some of you guys do, and if that works for you, that's great. But if it was me, I would be running double-aught buckshot out of a shotgun like this for home defense. So again, even if this gun did not run the birdshot, it wouldn't really matter to me all that much because for the type of application I would use this gun in, I wouldn't be running birdshot anyway. The only time I would run birdshot out of this gun, the only time where I would want to do that, would be if I'm just training or just plinking and having fun down on the range. That would be the time to run cheap birdshot just for fun versus more expensive double-aught buckshot or something like that. So again, even if this gun didn't run the birdshot, I would still be impressed by it because again, you can't really knock it. It's only 400 bucks, guys. Like, it's just a super cheap shotgun. Like, if it doesn't run birdshot, I can't really fault it because of the price point. Now let's say that it was more expensive. Let's say it was, you know, $1,000 or something like that, and it didn't run Birdshot. Then I would be disappointed. But at $400, I can't really complain if it didn't run the Birdshot. But all this, guys, is really neither here nor there, because the fact is, this gun does run Birdshot, as we've seen in today's video, and that just makes me like this gun all the more. So there you have it, guys. The Panzer Arms Benelli M4 clone will in fact run like Birdshot. That's absolutely incredible. So there you have it. Thanks so much for watching today's video. I really appreciate all you guys being here, and we just hit another big milestone, guys. We just passed up 2,000 subscribers here on Show Me Firearms. That's absolutely mind-blowing, and I have you guys to thank for it. Thanks so much for 2,000 subscribers, and I'll see you guys at 5,000. Thanks again for watching today's video. I appreciate all you guys being here. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and check out my merch store. And until next time, show me them firearms. Introducing the upgraded Panzer Arms Benelli M4 clone. That's right, everyone. I have spent the last number of months making all these upgrades come together on this Turknelli right here. Let's get into these 5 must-have mods for your Panzer Arms Benelli M4 clone. All right, let's get into it with these upgrades on my M4. And I'll be sure to leave links to all these products in the description down below. Also, just keep in mind, I am not affiliated with any of the manufacturers of these products. I bought everything here with my own money to try out on my M4. So first off, we have this adjustable stock that I purchased from Optics Planet. Now this stock is a 3-position stock. So you simply depress this button here on the left-hand side of the gun, and then you can set it to wherever feels best for you. And this is really cool because you can customize it to your own arm length to make the gun feel as ergonomic for you as possible. I personally like to keep it in that middle position there. We also have an adjustable cheek riser, so that way you can make it easier to get your eyes lined up on your sights there. So the adjustable stock probably is one of the best things that I did to this gun, because the full stock that my M4 came with, it was just kind of unwieldy, you know, kind of awkward. But with this adjustable stock, I can set it up to where it feels best for me personally. So highly recommend that you guys pick up an adjustable stock for your own M4. Up next, we have an upgrade that makes this gun look absolutely sick. And that is this 8-round shell carrier and rail system from Mesa Tactical. It makes the gun look just dang good. I mean, look, 8 rounds of buckshot on the side of that thing. It is so awesome. Installation was super easy. All I had to do was remove the stock Picatinny rail that came with the gun, and then just swap it out with the rail system from Mesa Tactical. Just like that, you got yourselves 8 rounds of ammo on the side there, and you still retain your Picatinny rail system on top. It just makes the gun look so dang good. Up on top of that carrier / rail system, I've got a Crimson Trace CTS 1300 3.5 MOA red dot mounted up there. And this is gonna be interesting because I've never actually run a red dot on a shotgun before, because I've never had a tactical shotgun like this. So we're gonna see how that goes. And I decided to go with this Crimson Trace dot for a couple of reasons. Price point was one. This thing I think was under $100, so pretty reasonably priced. And also, I've never tried a Crimson Trace product before, so just wanted to try something new, see what they're all about. And even if this dot isn't the best one out there, I really don't need, you know, a super precise, super accurate red dot, because at the end of the day, this is a shotgun. If you're running buckshot, you're not too concerned about pinpoint accuracy. So I just thought I would try a basic budget red dot, see how it goes. And I have seen some conflicting reviews about these red dots. Some people say they're not too reliable, not too durable. Other people say they're pretty good, so I don't know. We'll see. I'll be sure to let you guys know how things go with this red dot over the coming months. Up next, we've got this M-Lock rail system from Midwest Industries. And in addition to making the gun look just dang good and completing that full-on tactical vibe we got going here, this rail system adds nearly infinite customization options to your Panzer Arms Benelli M4 clone. You can do whatever the heck you want to up here now. You can do a grip like I have, you can do a flashlight, you can do a laser, whatever M-LOK accessory you can think of, you can mount it up on your Panzer Arms Benelli M4 clone using this rail system from Midwest Industries. So yeah, if you've got an M4, I would highly recommend this rail system from Midwest Industries. You can do so much more with this gun now, and I just think it's a no-brainer. Get this rail system from Midwest Industries. And finally, the grip. So I went with a Magpul MBG vertical grip, and it just makes the gun so much more ergonomic and easier to manipulate with a grip up there. And of course, you can mount whatever grip you want, whether it's a vertical grip, an angled grip, whatever feels best to you. I personally just went with the vertical grip, but I definitely recommend getting a grip of some sort. It just makes the gun feel so much more ergonomic, and I would imagine that it will also help with recoil management. We're gonna find out here in just a moment when we shoot this thing, because I've not shot this gun yet with all these tricked out upgrades, so we're gonna do that here in a moment. But yeah, it makes the gun much easier to manipulate, much more ergonomic. I would definitely recommend getting a grip of some sort, mounting it up on that Midwest Industries M-LOK rail system. All right, quick bonus round. So a lot of y'all had requested that I try out a mag tube extension on my M4 here, and that's something that I really wanted to do also. So I purchased a KZ Benelli M4 two-shot mag tube extension from Bowtac and tried it out on my M4 here. That mag tube extension did not work. It was actually too long. When I screwed it onto my mag tube, the end of that mag tube extension was sitting out right about there. So that mag tube extension was pretty much worthless. The only way I could think of that you could possibly try to make it work would be if you took that mag tube extension, cut it down to the proper length, and then re-threaded the end of it so that it would accept the mag tube cap right here. So unless you guys have a way of heavily modifying it like that, do not buy that KZ Benelli M4 two-shot mag tube extension for your Panzer Arms M4. All right, first shots with the upgraded Panzer Arms Benelli M4 clone. Let's see how this thing feels. Whew. Yeah, that felt so good, especially with the vertical grip up here. That really helped me out with recoil management, and like I was talking about, it just makes the gun so much more ergonomic. Having the red dot up there, being able to keep both eyes open, because as you guys know, I am cross-eye dominant, and when I try to line up iron sights with my right eye, all sorts of weird things happen because I'm left eye dominant. So being able to keep both eyes open, putting that dot on that target makes it so much easier. And yeah, I'm loving these upgrades. The adjustable stock, the grip, having all this ammo here at the ready. 5 more rounds of double-aught buckshot, and would you look at that? Somebody left a dryer down there for me to destroy. Yeah. Oh yeah, I just oiled this guy too, and look at all that smoke pouring out of there. Yeah, that's the thing of beauty. So, as you guys know, the Panzer Arms Benelli M4 clones get a lot of hate, like a lot, and it totally is not justified. Y'all, I've had this Panzer Arms Benelli M4 clone for over a year now, and it runs birdshot, it runs buckshot, it runs slugs, it runs anything I've run through it with no malfunctions. And I thought it was worth it to put a bunch more money into it to upgrade it, because this, and this were not cheap. And I thought it was worth it to put the money into this gun to really make it into something cool, tactical, I should say. And yeah, so all you Turkish import haters about the Panzer Arms M4, seriously, you guys, you don't know what you're talking about. This is a solid gun. I love it, and I am so glad I decided to put all these awesome upgrades into it. Using that vertical grip on here also makes it easier to walk and fire at the same time. So yeah, I love that. Whew, this gun is just too much fun, and it seriously does not get the credit that it deserves. There's just so much hate for these guns online, and it just is not justified in the slightest. So if y'all are on the fence about either buying a Panzer Arms M4 or upgrading your Panzer Arms M4, take it from me. Do not hesitate. Either buy the gun or upgrade the gun, because that's what I did, and I'm not regretting it. I'm loving it. This is some of the best money I ever spent on this gun and these upgrades, because the legit Benelli M4 costs like $2 grand. I mean, good grief. You're not doing anything at that point but paying for the name Benelli. That's all you're doing. You're not paying for better quality. You're paying for the name Benelli. Benelli knows that, and they are taking advantage of people who will pay that amount of money when you can get something just as good for a heck of a lot less. Because when I bought this gun, stock, brand new, 400 bucks. I don't know exactly what the total comes to with the upgrades that I've put into it, but it is still a heck of a lot less than $2,000. So, seriously, if y'all want to get yourselves Panzer Arms M4 and upgrade it, do it, because this thing is awesome. I absolutely love it, mainly because I didn't have to spend $2 grand to get something this cool. Now, what other upgrades do you guys want to see me do on the Panzer Arms Benelli M4 clone? And yeah, I still want to get 2 more rounds into my mag tube there, whether it's with an extension or a full-blown extended mag tube. Definitely want to make that happen at some point. So if any of you know of a mag tube extension that will work on the Panzer right here, please let me know down below. And also, a few months ago, I had reached out to the folks over at Dave's Metalworks, I believe it's called, because I think they have either a mag tube extension or else a full-blown extended mag tube on their website, or maybe even both. So if anybody from Dave's Metalworks is watching right now, please get in touch with me, because I would love to work with y'all on getting a mag tube extension or extended mag tube on my Panzer Arms M4 clone right here. So if you guys are interested, please let me know. My contact info is always in the description down below. Thanks so much for watching today's video. I appreciate all of you guys being here. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and to check out all the cool stuff I've got in my merch store. And until next time, show me them firearms, especially if it is an upgraded, tricked out, tactical, one heck of an awesome Panzer Arms Benelli M4 clone. Welcome to Show Me Firearms, and boys, you've been asking for it, and it's been a long time coming, but it's finally here. Introducing the fully upgraded Panzer Arms Benelli M4 clone. Today, we're gonna dive into the latest mods and upgrades that I've done on this M4 clone right here. Be sure to stick around, because some of these mods were a little bit tricky to install, and it took some finagling to get them to work just right. But don't worry, I'm gonna walk you through exactly what you'll need to do if you want to install these same mods on your own M4 clone. And I'm also going to reveal the total cost of this entire build with the gun and all of the upgrades, and then we're gonna see if it was worth it or if you'd be better off just buying the actual Benelli M4. Upgrade number 5 on our list is this 2-point sling setup, which you may be thinking, that's super easy, super simple. Why are you showing that to us? Well, if you want to save some money on mounting your 2-point sling on the M4 clone, it's going to take a little bit of finagling. More on that in just a moment. But I've just got kind of a cheapo sling right here just for demonstration purposes. But the sling is still kind of cool. All you got to do, let's put it on, grab a hold of this strap right here, cinch it up, tightens it for you, and then it pulls the gun back into your shoulder and makes it easier to walk around with. If that's what you're wanting to do, all you gotta do is release it, pull on that, and you're good to go. Up front, we just have your standard QD mount for M-LOK rails up here. Nothing goofy about that. Where it gets a little bit tricky is if you have the adjustable stock on your M4 clone. First thing you gotta do, first thing you gotta think about is they make these QD mounts that go into the little hole down here at the bottom, but the only ones I could find were like 50 bucks. I was not gonna spend $50 on a mount for a sling. So what I did instead is I took your standard M-LOK QD mount like we got up here, and I wanted to mount it on the little slot up here on the stock. But in order to do that, first thing I had to do was I had to take a Dremel and notch out the cheek riser on my stock so that it would fit the sling. And then on that slot itself on the stock, I had to file that just a little bit wider so that way I could fit that QD mount in there and then secure it with some M4 bolts. And it actually works really well. It's super secure, really sturdy. It's not gonna go anywhere. And these M-Lock QD mounts only cost like 15 bucks. So 15 bucks versus 50, that was a no-brainer. So if you're wanting to do a 2-point sling setup on your own M4 clone, I highly recommend doing it this way instead of, you know, spending 50 bucks for a little QD mount that goes down there. Just get the $15 one for your M-Lock rails and then do a little bit of drumming and you're good to go and you save yourself some money. Upgrade number 4 is the charging handle. This charging handle is the Benelli M4 enhanced charging handle from Midwest Industries. Now, this is kind of a small, seemingly insignificant upgrade, but it actually does add a heck of a lot to the gun because the stock charging handle, by comparison, was kind of small and had a very smooth, slick surface. So especially if you had gloves on, it was kind of difficult to get a good grip on it as you're charging the weapon. This charging handle, by comparison, is a lot bigger and a lot beefier, so you just have more real estate to grab a hold of as you're charging the gun. And it's also got some very aggressive texturing on it. Just gives you a way better grip on it overall. So yeah, again, kind of a small item to upgrade, but it makes a big difference, especially like I said, if you got gloves on and it's cold outside or whatever, it makes it way easier to grab a hold of the charging handle to charge your M4 clone. By the way, if you're a fan of the M4 clone, why not show it off with this awesome new t-shirt design? We've got the fully upgraded Panzer Arms M4 clone right here with off-brand, which just seemed kind of fitting because this isn't the name brand M4. So be sure to hit the link in the description down below if you want to pick up your own off-brand t-shirt. Upgrade number 3 is the Streamlight ProTac HLX Pro weapon mounted flashlight. Now, this weapon light is advertised to be able to produce up to 50,000 candela and it's supposed to be able to shine up to 1,400 feet. That's definitely way further than what you're going to be shooting with a shotgun like this. This light uses a rechargeable battery pack, so that way you don't have to mess around with batteries if you don't want to, but it also does accept CR123A batteries, so that way if you're out in the field or whatever and your battery pack dies on you, you can simply throw some extra batteries in there and stay in the fight no matter what. We've also got this pressure pad, which I mounted up on the left side of the gun here, and that's perfect because my thumb kind of falls naturally right there. So all I got to do when I need to light that target up is hit that pressure pad, light comes on, and then once I take care of business, release it and it goes off. Now I wish I could show you guys using this light in the way that it's intended to be used, you know, actually lighting up targets and then shooting them after dark. Not going to be able to do that, unfortunately, because, you know, it's going to be kind of disturbing to other people to be having gunfire after dark. So can't do that. That's not cool. So here's some clips of just lighting up random stuff with the light after dark. I wish I could be actually shooting it after dark, but again, that wouldn't be cool. So this will just have to do, but you get the idea. This light is extremely bright and it's going to light up your targets no matter what if you need to take care of business after dark. Upgrade number 2 is this muzzle device. This is the Carlson's Tactical Breacher Choke Tube. Now, this muzzle device is pretty cool because you can run this thing with buckshot, with birdshot, with slugs, basically any kind of shot you want, and it's not going to give you any problems. Now, is there any kind of practical application for a muzzle device like this, like say home defense? Well, no. You don't know. It's not practical at all for home defense. So then why would you buy a muzzle device like this? Well, because it just makes the gun look so stinking awesome. I mean, look at that. It just sets that muzzle off so well, makes the gun look so aggressive with the ports on there, with the aggressive, sharp serrations on there. It's just perfect. It's a perfect complement to the rest of the gun. So should you buy a muzzle device like this? I mean, it's totally up to you, but I think you should because, again, it makes the gun look so darn cool looking. So yeah, muzzle device for the win. Get one if you want to make your Benelli M4 clone look like the sickest shotgun that you've ever seen. And number 1 on our list of upgrades for the Panzer Arms Benelli M4 clone is the upgrade that you all have been requesting the most, the one that I've wanted to install the most, but it's also the one that's given me the most problems. But I finally got it to work. the magazine tube extension. Ha! At long last, I finally got one to work. This is the Panzer Arms M4 Tactical +2 magazine extension, and it works great. Now anyway. It did not work at first straight out of the box. This thing was actually a pain to install and to get it to work. Yeah, so straight out of the box, this mag tube extension was 1/8 of an inch too long. As you can see in this photo right here, the magazine tube cap is screwed all the way down. It will not go any further, but there's still that 1/8 of an inch gap. So that was, yeah, I was not happy about that when I tried to install this thing for the first time. So what I had to do was I took a hacksaw and cut 1/8 of an inch off of the end of the mag tube extension. So yeah, it took a little bit of doing, a little bit of finagling to get it to work. So just be aware of that if you want to install this same mag tube extension on your own M4 clone. You may have to do some cutting and filing to get it to work, but if you're willing to do that, yeah, you can get a +2 mag tube extension on your own M4 clone. And yeah, let's take a look at this thing loaded up with 7 rounds instead of just 5. Also, I didn't have to get a new mag tube spring with this extension. I'm still using the stock one that came with the gun, and it cycles just fine. So just to show you guys that I'm not lying about this mag tube extension actually working, I've got right here 7 rounds of number 8 Birdshot. To show you guys it'll take 7 and not just 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Yes, please. That's what I want to see. 7 rounds in that mag tube. As you saw, it cycled all 7 rounds of number 8 Birdshot just fine with the stock OEM spring that came with the gun. So yeah, this gun, yeah, fully upgraded, and I love it. How about a couple of slugs real quick? And I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see it, but with this streamlight weapon light right here, even in the bright sunlight, I can still see it lighting up that target on the left there. I don't know if it's coming across for you guys on camera, but even the bright sunlight, yeah, this thing still throws out a heck of an amount of light. So let's do some slugs real quick, shall we? Safety off, that would help. Yeah. If you guys don't have yourselves a Panzer Arms Benelli M4 clone and you haven't completely tricked it out with all these mods and upgrades, some of which, you know, may or may not actually be practical, yeah, you need to do it because this thing is just too stinking awesome. All right, let's talk about the total cost of this entire build. The gun, all the mods and upgrades. So the gun was $400, brand new out of the box. Stock, $56. The sling and QD mounts, both front and rear, a total of $47. Charging handle, $29. Red dot, $95. Shell holder, $120. M-lock rail, $160. Vertical grip was $20. Light, $124. Muzzle device, $65. Mag tube extension, $24, which brings us to a total of $1,140 for the gun and all the upgrades. The actual name brand M4 costs you $2,000. And remember, the name brand M4 straight out of the box, brand new, is not going to have your adjustable stock. It's not going to have your shell holder, your M-lock rail system, none of the cool stuff, right? It's just going to be a stock bare bones M4, name brand M4. It still costs you almost double of what the off-brand M4 costs with all these awesome mods and upgrades. So to me, it's a no-brainer. Like, spend almost half of what the name brand M4 costs and get yourself a gun with all these tactical upgrades. And you Benelli guys out there, like, why the hate for the off-brand M4? Why do you say it's unreliable? Why do you say it's junk? Have you ever shot one? I've owned this off-brand M4 for just over 2 years now. And in those 2 years, I've not had one single issue or malfunction with it. It's done nothing to indicate to me that it's not a reliable gun. It's worked flawlessly for me over the last 2 years and going back for multiple videos. You can check out the entire playlist if you want to see this gun from day one. But yeah, so over the last 2 years, this gun, it's proved its reliability to me, and it's just a heck of a lot of fun, and you can upgrade the heck out of this thing and still spend about half of what it would cost you to buy a stock bare bones name brand M4 with none of the cool stuff on it. So yeah, if you guys are on the fence about buying a off-brand Panzer M4 clone and then upgrading it, do it, because I have not regretted one single dollar, one single upgrade I put into this gun. It's worth it 100%, and yeah, this gun is just too much fun, and just buy it already, will you? Just buy the off-brand M4 and upgrade the heck out of it. All right, are there any other parts or accessories that you want to see me try out on the Panzer Arms Benelli M4 clone? If so, be sure to hit me up in the comment section down below, and it would be awesome if you could also include a link to the exact product that you want me to try out, just so I know exactly which one you're talking about. Also, don't forget to check out the off-brand t-shirts. These are awesome. There's a link to those down below as well. It's been a ton of fun upgrading the heck out of this Panzer Arms Benelli M4 clone, and you've all really been enjoying it as well. But it seems like whenever there's something fun involving firearms, the ATF has got to stick their slimy little fingers into it and make the whole thing a massive headache. And the headache in this case is 18 USC 922R, or just 922R for short. Now, 922R makes upgrades which would have otherwise been simple and easy into a bit of a nightmare, because like all stupid gun laws, it's just plain confusing and can leave you wondering whether or not you're in compliance. So in this video, I'm going to break down my understanding of 922R as best as I can, so that way hopefully you guys have an easier time than I did of figuring out what parts you need to install on your own guns to make them compliant. After that, we're going to talk about the exact parts I installed on my own Panzer Arms M4 clone, and then I'm going to give you guys some pointers on some things to watch out for if you want to install those same parts on your own M4 clone. Because since this isn't an actual Benelli M4, it's just a clone, some of the parts are a little bit tricky to install, and it may take some finagling to get them to work just right, but don't worry, we're going to talk about exactly what you'll need to do. Okay, so before we talk about what this stupid 922R thing is, don't take any of this as legal advice, all right? Because I'm obviously not a lawyer. This is all my understanding of 922R based off of the research I've done. And all the research I did was from the perspective of making my M4 clone compliant with 922R. So information that pertains to other types of firearms may not necessarily be included in this video. Also, I want to give a huge shout out to Freedom Fighter Tactical, because most of the information that I researched came from their FAQ page, which was extremely helpful. All right, so be sure to check it out. There's a link down in the description. So what even is 922R anyway? Well, 922R states that it shall be unlawful for any person to assemble from imported parts. You know what, forget it. Nobody understands this nonsense, okay? Not even the swamp creature who wrote it. So in simple English, 922R says that some rifles and shotguns can't be imported to the United States because they're not suitable for sporting purposes. And you also can't assemble one of these rifles or shotguns from too many imported parts. But that makes it sound like we can't import any Panzer or Benelli M4s to the United States, but we can obviously still buy them here. So what's the deal? Because the thing with these imported guns is that they kind of have their wings clipped, if you will, because when you buy them new out of the box, they have restricted mag tubes, which limits their capacity to 5 rounds instead of the 7 that they were intended to have. And then there's the part about assembling an untainted M4 from imported parts. Okay, now this is where things get real murky with the ATF's arbitrary rules, so be sure to stick with me here. If you want to install an adjustable stock on your M4, you'll need to swap out a total of 4 other parts that are American made. If you want to increase ammo capacity either with a full-length 7-round tube or with a extension like I've got here, you'll need to install a total of 3 other parts that are American made. Finally, if you want to do both your stock and your mag tube, you'll need to install a total of 4 other parts that are American made. Easy enough? Makes sense? Okay, good. But wait, there's a catch. You see, the ATF doesn't want us swapping out whatever we want to on our M4s. No. Us peasants are much too dumb for that in the ATF's eyes. So they've given us a list of approved parts that we can swap out on our guns to bring them into compliance. Those parts are receiver, bolt, bolt carrier, gas piston, trigger housing, trigger, disconnector, buttstock with integrated pistol grip, handguard, magazine body, aka mag tube. The ATF isn't very good with their terminology now, are they? And the magazine follower. Again, I highly recommend checking out Freedom Fighter Tactical's FAQ page on this because it goes into way greater detail than what we've got time for here in this video. But in a nutshell, you'll have to pick 3 or 4 non-imported parts to swap out, depending on if you're doing your adjustable stock, your mag tube, or both, and then you'll have to pick those non-imported parts from the ATF's approved list. Okay, so that's my understanding of 922R and how it applies to us if we want to restore our M4s to their full glory. Now, if I missed anything at all or got something wrong here, please let us all know down in the comment section below, so that way we can all learn something. Okay, so with all that legal stuff, no, wait. Actually, all that illegal stuff, because 922R, like all gun laws, is a violation of the Second Amendment. With all that illegal stuff out of the way, let's talk about the work I did to my own M4 to make it 922R compliant. Now, since my gun and the mods I've done to it are obviously very public here on YouTube, I kind of had to make it 922R compliant. It's a bit cryptic, I know. We'll get back to that later. Since I've installed both an adjustable stock and a magazine tube extension on my gun, that meant that I had to swap out a total of 4 other parts on this gun that were not imported. Now, keep in mind, I unfortunately can't actually show you how to install these parts here on YouTube because of their usual anti-gun nonsense. Now, I am going to try to show you the trigger group later on so you can kind of see what I'm talking about, but I may have to edit that stuff out later depending on how YouTube reacts to it. The first part I swapped out was the magazine follower, and the one I got is the M4 magazine follower from NDZ Performance, and I did this modification because it's obviously super easy and pretty cheap to install. All you gotta do is pull your mag tube spring out, throw your new follower on there, and you're good to go. Next is the handguard, and as you guys have seen in other M4 clone videos here on the channel, this is the M4 M-Lock handguard from Midwest Industries. Now, this is a very easy compliance part that you can install, and also one that you get the most out of. On top of helping to make the gun compliant, you obviously get the benefit of having an M-Lock rail system on your M4, and that way you can throw lights, grips, sling mounts, whatever you want on your M4. It also just makes the gun look way cooler aesthetically and gives it a much more tactical vibe, so swapping out your handguard is really just a win-win. The next 2 parts were definitely the trickiest to install, and I wasn't even sure if they were even gonna work on my gun because these parts are obviously made for the name brand M4 and they're not guaranteed to work on a M4 clone. So I decided to roll the dice and take a chance to see if they would work. I went with the ANS Enhanced Trigger Guard, trigger housing, whatever you want to call it. And this was a bit of a gamble because again, I wasn't even sure if this part would even physically fit into the receiver because this part is meant for the actual Benelli M4, obviously, and I'm trying to put it on a clone, so it's not guaranteed to work. I also had no way of knowing for sure if all the internal parts like your trigger, your disconnector, your safety mechanism, all that good stuff, I had no way of knowing if these parts would even be happy in their new home. Then I figured if I was gonna be taking the entire trigger group apart anyway to swap the internals over to the new housing, it'd be easy enough just to swap in a USA made hammer for my 4th and final compliance part. So I got myself a hammer from shootingsite.com and then started the process of Frankensteining my M4 clone's trigger group with a bunch of USA made Benelli parts. First thing I did was I pulled the old trigger group out and then I did a dry fit with the new one just to make sure it would actually fit into the receiver, and fortunately it fit like butter. Then it was time to move all of my internals over to the new trigger housing. Now there's a great tutorial from EKB here on YouTube on how to disassemble and reassemble your M4's trigger group. Now hopefully YouTube doesn't nuke his video like they did my Ruger AR-556 video, because I would have been totally lost without his tutorial. So be sure to check it out. I'll leave a link down in the description. So then I transferred all the internals over to the new housing and swapped in the USA made compliant hammer, and everything actually went surprisingly smoothly. Until I got to the safety mechanism, that is. The diameter of the original retaining pin was actually too small for the new housing. On the new housing, the mounting holes were bigger in diameter for whatever reason. So for a minute there, I thought I was screwed. But then I got to thinking, that retaining pin isn't under hardly any stress or anything. It's just holding the safety spring in place. So I decided to redneck it. What I did was I took a roofing nail and I cut it down to length, and then I filed the diameter down so that it would fit nice and tight in its mount on the housing, and it actually worked. So with the safety making things safe again, I popped the trigger group back into the receiver and began testing the gun to make sure all these internal parts were actually gonna work. And they worked pretty well at first, except for the bolt was not locking back after the last round. But after a quick break-in period, about 25 rounds of buckshot, the bolt did begin to lock back consistently. So it just needed a quick break-in, and now the gun is running just fine. And with that, my M4 clone was now 922R compliant. Yay, lucky me. Like I mentioned earlier, 922R is yet another arbitrary and highly illegal gun law that makes the simplest upgrades a huge pain in the neck, because now you gotta worry about whether or not you're in compliance or not. And as I was making my own M4 clone compliant, the thought crossed my mind, how the heck does the stupid ATF think they can even enforce something like this? Now in my case, it's easy enough to see how they can enforce it because my gun is highly visible here on the internet. But if you keep your guns and what you do to them to yourself, how is the ATF gonna know if you installed an adjustable stock, a magazine tube extension, but you didn't install 4 compliance parts? Now, I'm not saying that you should do that, okay? All right, I never advocate that you break laws here on this channel. So ATF, if you're listening to this, for the record, I'm telling my viewers that if they install an adjustable stock and a magazine tube extension, they also need to install 4 compliance parts to ensure that they are fully compliant with federal gun law, okay? That's for the record. But at the same time, I'm just a stupid old country boy from the middle of flyover country here in Missouri, so I'm just asking stupid questions here. If somebody does the stock and the magazine tube extension, but not the 4 compliance parts, how the heck the ATF gonna know about it? And how the heck they gonna enforce it? Food for thought. All right, guys, I hope that helped any of you who are wondering about 922R and which parts you can install on your own guns to make them compliant. If I missed anything important, or if you have any questions about what I did to my gun to make it compliant, be sure to leave me a comment down below. And yeah, until next time, show me them firearms, especially if it is a 922R compliant Panzer Arms Benelli M4 clone.